Now this one. Go ahead.
Yeah, when it came to Cabrini, I got to admit, as a faithful Catholic, at least I'm trying to be, I had no idea about Mother Cabrini. I didn't know that she was a saint. I didn't know she was the first canonized American saint. I thought it was Saint Elizabeth Ann Seton.
No.
I didn't know anything of her story. I didn't know any of her of the plight of anything that she did.
Yeah.
Just to my great shame. And once I heard that, and then I heard all the obstacles she overcame, her incredible faith and her devotion and her determination,
yes,
and how she touched hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people's lives and saved countless souls. I just thought this is a story that needs to be told. And so here we are.
Wow.
Leo, here's how I first heard about Mother Cabrini. There's a street in Burbank called Cabrini Drive or something like that.
Right.
And that's where the office is of SCRC. They're on the corner of Cabrini Drive, and I forget the other street. And years ago, when I went to go buy some cassette tapes or some books at the SCRC office, that I said, wow, Cabrini Drive. And then I said, who's that? Looked it up. It was a saint. So that's how I found out by driving in Burbank.
It's because she went to Burbank as that's one of the places she visited.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm kind of weird, guys. I knew all about her life because my cousins.
Of course you did, Terry. Of course you did.
No, I did. I'm just saying I've always been inspired by her hair, not because she's short and like me, but because of her zeal for the souls. I just thought that she was like a woman that, I mean, wow, what a woman, And I think that it's great that you're doing this because more people are going to realize, that I compare her to St. Catherine of Siena. I really do. She was a bold woman, and I think the world needs to see more about what she did because I think it'll bring many souls to Christ.
That's a great comparison. I hadn't thought about that, but St. Catherine of Siena was very, very bold, standing up even to the Pope at Avignon, right? So,
yeah, you got it.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Cabrini was in that.
Leo, what was the process of researching and bringing her story to the page and then the screen?
Yeah.
Well, it was very intense, right? So our executive producer, Eustace Wolfington, who the two of you know, is just an incredible
amazing man.
He had this devotion to her, and that what he says is the inspiration for what he did, which was he changed the automotive industry by inventing the concept of car leasing. And he really credits Mother Cabrini's intercession with that. Mm-hmm. And so when he told us about the story, and I didn't know anything about it, he said, well, before you consider whether you're going to make this film or not, you need to read a book on her life. And so he sent me a book, and I read it. And quite frankly, I thought it was just drudgerous. It was just dry. And in that dryness, nonetheless, there was pops of inspiration when I started hearing about her life. And so that turned into getting the screenwriter, Rod Barr, who also wrote Sound of Freedom with us, is writing our next film with us. He's wonderful. Mm-hmm. And Rod had to he read 26 books of her life. He went and was at Codogno at her convent with her historians, learned all about her life there, was at the Vatican archives, read all of her canonization trial,
Incredible.
Walked her footprints in the U.S. from New York to Chicago to somewhere, I think to Colorado, and then to Burbank. And then after that, Yusuf said, now you're ready to write the script. So we have the Cabrini expert, world expert right now that wrote the script. We tried to be as authentic as we could to what we found in this woman from her own writings and from the letters and writings of the people around her.
Leo, here's a good one. I got the quotable Fulton Sheen I use every day on the radio. What about the quotable Mother Cabrini? Are there any quotes that you could share with us?
Oh, so many. Let me give you three right off the bat. Right?
I love it.
So, the first, and this was what was inspiring to me. That's the thing that got me was she was very, very frail.
Yeah.
She almost died of smallpox. She almost died of tuberculosis. Her lungs were compromised. Her immune system was compromised. She almost drowned in a river. All this happened before she was 12 years old. She was just given months to live.
Yeah.
And just maybe years to live constantly. She was facing this internal, struggle with death every single day. And one of her quotes is, we can serve our purpose or we can serve our weakness, not both. Or maybe the other way around. We can serve our weakness or we can serve our purpose, not both. And she never let that frailty discourage her. She was turned down from 3 different orders for frailty of constitution. And she's like, then I'll just start my own, and then I'll just get papal approval, and I'll just, whatever. One. The second is she said, the world is too small for what I intend to do.
Yeah.
Now, on its face, you might think, my goodness, well, that's a mouthful for someone to say, even in the 1900s, right? Particularly. a woman, an unknown nun from the kind of backwaters of Italy. But our director, Alejandro, he points out she didn't say in her lifetime, right? So I think hopefully this film, we credited her as our first executive producer. Hopefully this film is an extension of that. The world is too small for what she intends to do, because she didn't say it was only while she was alive.
Good point.
So the idea that she touched hundreds of thousands then, and hopefully this film is touching millions more, so that this story keeps going.
Wow.
And then the final quote that's really one that hits home was when she said, this was from one of her writings, and it was coming her through. It was just really dealing with, you can imagine, the worst of circumstances. I mean, 5 Points at the time in Lower Manhattan was just the stuff that Scorsese did Gangs of New York around. It was just this violent, terribly chaotic place where all these immigrants were crammed in their millions into these small little tenement housings. But anyways, it was, we don't get to choose how we come into this world, but we do get to choose how we live in this world.
Amen.
And I think all three of those are just like, it touched me to the core.
Wow. What a good woman to extol on the International Women's Day. Some people are saying, well, maybe it's a promotion of feminism. I said, I don't know who put that in your mind, but that's quite the opposite. I said, feminism is promoting the view, promoting all the Hollywood icons that we see trying to entertain people on television. This is promoting a true woman of faith, hope, love, and virtue. There's a whole lot of virtue in this woman. One of the things I see about her is the virtue of justice. She had this zeal, this hunger for justice. It's like, no. You can't be doing this to the Italian people. No. I love that about her. And then some people will say, well, she's out of her place. And I'm like, there's a long tradition of strong women in the Old Testament and the New Testament in the history of the Catholic Church. I mean, I just think about like women like Judith in jail who cut off a king's head. Is that feminism? She's a feminist. She cut off Sisera's head. A man should have cut off her head. Well, no, because these men were scared.
Yeah.
So God sent the B team to do it, and also the Blessed Virgin Mary. I mean, is that an example of DEI? Diversity, equity, inclusion. She has a power to crush the head of the serpent, the most powerful being in the universe, preternatural being. God didn't choose a man to crush the head of the serpent. It was his mom. Yeah. I mean, is that an act of DEI? No, it isn't. It just, to me, the fact is, to show you what we think about women, the holiest creature in all of universe and the queen of everything is a woman, not a man.
Amen.
So, yeah, I just thought I'd throw that in.
I'm glad you. Why don't you really tell us what you think, Jess?
Yeah, exactly. I'm wondering.
I've been defending. I'm telling you, I've been defending Leo with all these guys. I'm like, no. You guys don't know this guy. I know this guy. I don't want to say one thing, and because I know him and Eduardo and Alejandro, I know their heart,
Amen.
And I know the Catholicism that they live. These guys are the real deal.
Oh yeah.
What a blessing to have these guys in Hollywood. Me and my brother Johnny were talking the other day, and we knew that something, and we've seen it now, something good was going to come out about when we put Eduardo together and his friends with Kevin James. And this explosion is what we see here. This is a result of two knucklehead brothers saying, we got to put these guys together. Nothing but good can come out of this. And we were right. Yeah. Nothing but good has come out of this relationship. And now, of course, they've extended the relationships. They brought in many other people. But, I was glad to be there as part of the organizational structure at the very beginning, Leo.
Listen, Jesse, first of all, you're exactly right. I'm so grateful to you and your brother. When I was just a little knucklehead, didn't know anything about my faith, the first guys that I heard actually talking about the faith, but in a reasoned way, in a logical way, in a profound way with passion was Johnny Romero and Jesse Romero. And then from there, the Tim Staples and the like. And then, of course, Terry, everything you're doing with St. Joseph Communication.
Sure, Scott Hunt, sure.
Everything else. The Catholic family conferences you had in county and other places. You guys, I get choked up when I think about you guys always, because personally, you have touched my soul at such a profound level, and I'm so grateful to you guys. So I want to say that publicly and loudly, because you guys are responsible for so much of the path that I'm on, and that I've been on by God's grace since then. And when it comes to this argument of the feminist thing, it's so silly. It's so mind-boggling to me that there's any fraction of the population that would think this. Of course, they said the same thing about Mother Teresa. I mean, what we're trying to do is show her as she was from her own letters. In fact, it's like you said, it's not a celebration of feminism. It's a celebration of femininity. Yeah. The fact that she's able to go into 5 points, I think, was prescient. No one's going to accuse Pope Leo XIII of being a modernist or being a feminist. It's exactly the opposite. And he was the one who decided she would be the first woman who would lead a missionary order of women apart from a missionary order of priests. So he made her a CEO, an entrepreneur, and gave her this power because and I think it was prescient because he knew. So, for example, at 5 points at the time, the priests were failing. They were not effective. And in part, it was because they kept getting shaken down, or they kept getting, whatchamacallit? They kept getting threats of violence and all kinds of other stuff from these gangs that were in that area that would later become the mob. But when Mother Cabrini walked in with her feminine grace, not only did those gangs, these mobsters, let her in, at some point they started defending and protecting her. So she used that femininity to reach these places where men couldn't reach, and to reach the destitute in places where others couldn't. So it was the exact opposite of what people think. It wasn't her trying to, supplant the place of a man or anything like that. It was the exact opposite. It was using her femininity to get to places where only femininity could reach. And to me, that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing.